Excited for our next segment. I'm supercharged at the fact that Mr. Brian Moses is here to share his insights. Brian is over 30 years in the business. Yes, he's that old. Started when he was 4, like me, over 30 years. In his history, he has a history of selling over 400 homes a year.
Wow.
He was the #2 top selling agent in the world for 1 or 2 franchises.
Caldwell Banker, yeah.
Coldwell Banker, #2 in the world, absolutely amazing, and now he teaches nationally, shares all of that knowledge, all of that industry insight nationally, and here he is in little old Warwick, Rhode Island, sharing it with our business family. So, without further ado, Mr. Brian Moses, thank you for being here.
Good afternoon. You guys ready to rock this? I'm fired up to be here. The morning session was amazing. I live in New Hampshire. And it's a 2-hour ride for me, and I was down here at 8 o'clock, bright and early, because you're always learning. You know, it's what you think you learn after you know everything that makes the difference. My father taught me that. You know, a young little kid, punk kid. I thought, oh, I know, your ego is not your ego. Is where. So I let go of my ego about 5 years into the business and just became a sponge and learned from the best in the business. But before I get in and share some strategies that'll help you, some distinctions that I've made over the years that accelerated my business. Now, a lot of you may be thinking 400 homes a year. He had a team. Yeah, a team of 8, 50 deals a piece on average. No real estate experience on my team. I had to train them, put them through the metrics that Jerica talked about earlier. Teach them the iterations of lead generation, lead conversion, client acquisition. And brand new agents with no experience were selling 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 houses their first month in the business. So success leaves clues. So I'm excited to share some of that with you. But before I dive in, I want to thank Dean and Jen and the team for putting this on. I want you to be aware and fill your hearts with gratitude, because when you're grateful, the universe delivers you more gifts to be grateful for. How many of you have found that to be true? And so often we're walking through life with what's wrong with this and what's wrong with that, and we have so much judgment about everything, and we're bitter and we're pissed off and we're angry and we're triggered. But when you're grateful, the universe gives you more things to be grateful for. So let's give it up for Dean and his team for it. We don't see that at every company. That's one of the great things I love about Dean, and I'm grateful for the friendship that we've developed over the years. So it's really, honestly, a privilege to be here. I'm a New Englander. I'm a Patriots fan. So it's nice to be in an area where they're kindred spirits, because when I travel the country and I say I'm a Patriots fan, I don't think it's real.
Shameful.
I know, it's awful, right? How could you like any other team?
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay, it's okay, there's always that. My condolences. So when Dean reached out to me and asked me if I would come and spend an hour with you, he said, what do you want to talk about? So, well, what are you guys talking about? Because there's a lot of things that can move the needle. And I had just gotten back from Business Mastery with Tony Robbins. I'm a trainer for Tony. How many of you think psychology is a critical component of your success? How many do you recognize that we all have limiting beliefs, myself included? The beliefs that hold us back, that prevent us from reaching our full potential.
Yes.
So Tony in Business Mastery talked about learning how to maneuver and manage the great gift that the universe, God, whatever your beliefs are, has given you, and how to operate this high-powered CPU, this computer that's called our brain. And That really was the shift, the 80%, because there's no shortage of strategies to generate more leads. How many ways are there to generate leads?
Million.
Tons, right? How many different medias are there to get your message out to the marketplace? Tons. How many different ways are there to build better rapport with your clients and improve conversion? Tons of strategies. And we have those, but if you don't have the right psychology, you can be doing the right thing at the wrong time. You're not gonna get the results that you're looking for. So if it's okay with you, I wanted to spend the time that we have together and give you what I feel is the greatest gift that I could personally give you, because you got all kinds of great information today on how to sell more homes. But I want to talk about how to operate your CPU. We all have beliefs. So if you want to jot this down, your beliefs control your thinking. And my goal is to create a heightened awareness, higher level of consciousness, so that you're intentional and purposeful in your day-to-day activity. How many of us recognize that maybe we're a little bit more reactive than we should be? We're not really conscious, we're creatures of habit, and we don't think about everything that we do. So your beliefs control your thinking controls your actions or your inactions. And your actions or inactions will control your results. Now, we had speakers speaking here today, and we have over 6,000 words of self-talk going on in conversation with ourselves every hour. Well, this morning sessions were going on, you're having a conversation. I like this speaker, I don't like this speaker. I believe what they say, I don't believe what they say. You're having these thoughts without consciously connecting the dots. I had a training yesterday. I put a lot of effort and energy into it. The broker reached out to me and said, hey, my right-hand person, thought it was a little elementary. And I said, I appreciate the feedback, but give me some more data. She says, well, she knows all about KPIs. How many of you have heard about your metrics before, right? So you think we know all about it. And I said to the owner, show me her KPIs. How many leads does she need to generate one sale? She's like, she probably doesn't know that. But yeah, she's judging me in the session, right? My son played college football, some of you know the story. They practice blocking and tackling every day. There's skills that can be developed, as Jerica alluded to. So be witness to your thoughts. When I'm in a session, a lot of what I heard was repetitive, it was awesome, it was incredible, but I got some little distinctions. And that's the detail that will take you to the next level. So I'm going to ask you to open your mind, because your mind is like a parachute. If it's not open, it won't work. So be open to the fact that in the next 2 hours that remain between Dean and my session, and hopefully this morning session, you're looking for the things that speak to you, not speak against you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because we go through life through judgment. So when Tony talks, get out of judgment and get into curiosity. Trade your expectations for appreciation and change your life forever. So that may be a little bit deep, but it's changed my life. So at Business Mastery, Tony talks about the 3 S's. The 3 S's to exponentially growing your business. Anybody want to take a guess at what they might be? Who thinks that if Tony Robbins has 3 S's that will exponentially grow your business, they're probably important? It's pretty exciting, right? That's exciting stuff. So I'll tell you what they are. Strategy. Do we need strategies to grow our business? You bet. Story. I'll elaborate on what that means. I was talking with Fred earlier, nice gentleman. He was telling me he'd been in business a long time. I'm like, do you have kids? He goes, no, I don't have kids. I go, how'd that happen? This just never happened. And I said, I've got two, and my oldest, who just graduated, I spent $400,000 to send him to college. How do you think that got my ass out of bed in the morning?
Yeah.
Because I wanted my kid to go to school, and I wanted him to have the best coaches and the best training and the best life that any parent could provide him. So that was my story. Who can understand that that story fueled my success? So I'm gonna ask you, what's your story? Who believes that we do more for other people than we will do for ourselves? So I'm gonna give you a homework assignment. I want you to find what's your story. Why is 2026 and beyond going to be the best career of your life? What's your why? What's your story? I'll just give you another important example about the story. If we were in downtown Providence where they've got some big buildings, and we were on top of the roof of a 50-story building, and right across the street, 30 yards away, 100 feet away, on the next city block is another 50-story building. And there was a 2x12 that ran 100 feet across, and you could see the sag because there's nothing supporting the 2x12. Can you envision this?
Yes.
And we were on the roof together, and I said, I'll give you $10,000 if you'll walk 100 yards across, 50 stories above the ground. Would anybody in this room do that? 20,000?
No.
Well, what if your loved one was on the other side and the building was burning?
Yes.
Okay, you don't even have to think. Here's my question. Do you have that kind of fuel in your belly to get your butt out of bed in the morning and kick ass and do the things that you don't want to do so that you can have the things that other people want? When you have a story, you're unstoppable, you're undeniable. Do you feel me? I had a story. I call it mental gymnastics. You know, we all go through tragedies in life. In the effort to have a family, we went through 13 fertility attempts and 3 miscarriages. And we were about to give up. But when we were blessed with my son, nothing was going to stop me. I wasn't born with any better dialogues than anyone else, but I worked my ass off to mastering them because I had a why. So we've got strategy, story, and the third is state. Your state, your physiology. How exciting would today be if I walked in here? Hey, what I'd like to talk to you about today is how to grow your business. Imagine going on a listing appointment, and I've sold a bunch of investment properties over the years, and I've interviewed real estate agents in areas that I didn't know anybody. And the real estate agent comes in, they've got no paperwork, they've got no comps, they've got no CMA, and I'm like, are you effing kidding me? You serious? And they're like, So those are the 3 S's. Strategies. Strategies are a dime a dozen. Story and state. Now here's what's important. And this was an epiphany for me, even after working for Tony Robbins for 3 years. What a gift that was. I learned more in 3 years about business than in my entire adult life. But do you all understand that the order and sequence matters? If you have a combination lock and the digits are 6, 2, 1, can you open the lock?
No.
Why can't you open the lock?
Need the right combination.
Well, you need the right order. If the right order was 1, 6, 2, now you can open the lock. So here's the secret. You need to be in a state every day. You need to, state comes first. When I coach agents, I coach some of the best agents in North America, some great teams. I personally, I talked about having a team. Personally, I sold 117 homes a year before I built a team. Not working nights and weekends. Occasionally, I didn't say never a work, but in real estate, don't most people work nights and weekends? Can you imagine selling 117 homes a year and having people wait for you? Would that be cool? So that's the strategy piece, which is the third key. And when people reach out to me about coaching, this is what they want to know. They want to know how. How do you do it? How do you do it? How do you do it? Well, there's a million ways to do it. I can show you the formula to do it. But if you don't have the right state and you don't have the right story, you're not gonna open a lock. Is that making sense to everybody?
Yep.
So the big thing I want you to take away is be aware, be conscious of your state. I'm gonna give you some tools. Like, how would you describe yourself? Let's do an emotional inventory about state. So let's take an emotional inventory. We have negative states and we have positive states. They're called feelings or emotions. A state is an emotion. Happy is a state. Sad is a state. Frustrated is a state. Confident is a state. Confused, worried are states. So just shout out, take an inventory of yourselves and shout out an emotional feeling or state that you felt in recent days.
Excited.
Tired, excited,
Excited.
tired.
Excited.
I got it, tired,
Confident.
confident,
Confused.
be honest,
Happy.
frustrated,
Determined.
determined,
Lucky. Happy.
lucky,
Grateful.
happy, grateful, great. Frustrated, we've got,
Satisfied.
satisfied,
Proud.
overwhelmed,
Optimistic.
stressed. Okay, that's an example. When I take on a new coaching client, generally that's the first conversation I have. How are you feeling? What's your state? Who thinks that your state impacts your results in life?
Absolutely.
You people don't need to know you're tired to know you're tired. Tired has a state. Sad has a state. Confidence has a state. But here's what's really magical, and I'm so grateful to Tony Robbins for this. He taught me how to control my state, how to choose my state. I talk to people, and I've done this outside of the real estate industry with post-war veterans, people who have PTSD, firemen, police officers who've seen things that they should have never seen. And their state, when I take an inventory, is overwhelmed, depressed, sad, grief. But nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I want to feel frustrated today.
That's built in.
You see what I'm saying? We're not conscious. How many of you have some negative states that if you could minimize those, it would be a huge thing? So I've chose this as a topic today. So another thing you can do, and you can do it with your spouse, you can do it with your kids, you can do it on yourself. I'd suggest you start there, is come up with 10. Now there's 3,000 words in Webster's dictionary that define an emotional state. 3,000. And when I do this with somebody, they can't come up with 10. They come up with 4, and it's angry, frustrated, confused, happy. So if it was a baseball game and the score was 3-1, negative versus positive, we wonder why our income isn't where we want it to be. Are you guys connecting the dots? This is the ground floor and the foundation to success. So I'm gonna give you some tools today so you can change your state that fast. Would that be helpful? But we gotta be aware of what's causing it, so we wanna, you know, and for me, and this is where you can go, and I've been working on myself for a long time. I'm still working on myself. But my state, I can list out 100 emotions. My score is 90-5. Positive. Now I've got some shit going on in my life too. My mother just turned, today is my mother's birthday, she's 82 today. Thank you. She's the most romantic human being on earth. How many of you think we're related? My mother-in-law is 85, she has days to weeks left. How many of you could understand if I didn't have this energy today?
Oh, yeah.
See, here's what Tony told me. Life changing. These are suffering states. Negative is suffering, it's limiting. These are empowering states. Beautiful states. Right? Is overwhelmed a suffering state or a beautiful state? Satisfied? Kind of neutral, maybe. I don't know, depending on the meaning you give it. Grateful, happy, positive, positive, positive. Tired, negative, positive, confident, positive, confused, frustrated, determined, stressed. But we're creatures of emotion. So here's what I want you to write down, please. I want you to make the most important decision of your life today. More importantly than the career you chose, more importantly than the spouse or partner you decided to commit to, more importantly than whether to have kids or not have kids, the most important decision you can make in your life is to choose to not suffer. Suffering is a choice. And you don't have to suffer. There are going to be events in your life, and the meaning you give those events determine which way you go. If I focus on the bad of losing my mother-in-law, it's natural to feel sad, depressed, down, out, discouraged. I choose not to live there. You guys get that? It's a choice. So how do you flip it? How do you flip it when bad shit happens to us? Who else besides, I'm sorry?
Alright, pick up the positive of it, there's always a positive and a negative.
Well, yeah, it's easier said than done. So there's 3 things that I can help you do. Change your focus. What you focus on, you feel. If I focus on losing my mother-in-law, you know how I'm gonna feel. Is my focus in my control?
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm gonna choose to focus differently. And this is not about positive thinking. Like, anybody ever lose a listing? You know, it's like shit. And you focus on what you lost versus focus on what changing your focus. So I'll give you some hacks on how you can change your focus in an instant. And what I used to do is take little sticky notes and put it on my bathroom mirror. Put them on my computer screen, put them on my desk. Put them where I would be reminded until it became automatic. Till it became unconscious, like tying your shoes. You don't think about tying your shoes anymore. I trained myself to control my focus. It doesn't happen overnight. But here's what you gotta do. You gotta say, what's great about this event? What's great about it? What's great about my mother-in-law's diagnosis? She's still here and I can say what I need to say. That makes me feel great. Do you guys understand? In an instant, by changing my focus, I can change my state. Suffering is a choice. So what's great about this? What else is great about it? I do that 3 times. I look and search and scour for the meaning that gives me an advantage. Because life is just a story. And some of us have been conditioned to tell a shitty story. So now that you know, you don't have to do that anymore. Tell yourself a different story, get a different life.
I need to bring the home, my grandson.
You can share this with them. Okay, so focus. What's great about this? What can I learn from this? How can this serve me? Tony Robbins says that the quality of your life is in proportion to the quality of the questions you ask yourself. Ask good questions, get good answers. But you know, we've been conditioned by our environment, our peers, our teachers, our parents, who are well intended. And we ask shitty questions. And we see the bad in everything. I see it every day. I stopped at a gas station today to get a coffee, and the guy in front was screaming at the 17-year-old kid because he only gave him 5 lunch bids instead of 6. We've all done it. We've all been triggered over something stupid, haven't we? If we're honest with ourselves. But we're growing. So better questions. The second is words or language. Your self-talk. How many of you talk to yourselves in a way that you shouldn't or wouldn't talk to anyone else? We beat ourselves up. We say, I can't do this. This is too hard. That's self-talk, 6,000 words an hour. 6,000 words an hour. Be witness to your thoughts to those conversations. Those conversations are powerful. Now, here's the biggest hack. I make a gratitude list. And if somebody reminds me, I'll share it. Is Jen here? If you remind me, I'll send you mine as a sample, and can you distribute it to everybody? I have a gratitude list. I start my day every day with 25 things I'm grateful for before I brush my teeth. And not just, I'm grateful I'm alive. I'm grateful for my health. Put some adjectives in your gratitude list. I'm grateful to be an American. That fires my emotion. How many of you are grateful to be in this country? Amen. I'm grateful for our veterans.
Yes.
They fight for us every day to give us the freedoms that we deserve. Do you know I eat problems for breakfast with this now? Because when you're grateful, you condition yourself to get more things that you're grateful for. So make a gratitude list. Flood. You know, if we had a bucket of an empty bucket and I poured a pint of black paint in it, black representing suffering states, negative, limiting, and I took a gallon of white paint, what happens to the color in the bucket? And I take another gallon of white paint, what happens to the color?
Lighter.
And then another gallon.
Lighter.
That's what I've done with my emotions. I'm human. I feel suffering states in a moment. But my gratitude list helps me conquer everything. I'm unfreaking stoppable because of all the blessings I have in my life. And do you think I want more? Of course I want more. I'm driven and I have ambitious goals. But I'm not bitching and complaining about what I don't have. I'm grateful for what I do have. So how many of you are down for doing that? It'll change your life. But don't just do it, read them aloud with that intensity. So I used to laminate mine, put them in the shower, so that I wouldn't forget. Because when I started this, I was suicidal. I thought about taking my life. A cassette series, Unleash the Power Within, from Tony, saved my life. And now it's the last thing I would do. No matter how bad things get. So, words are language. So then I want you to create 25 affirmations. My affirmations take the future of what I want to manifest and bring it into the present, and they are I am statements. Many of you have heard about affirmations. Why don't we do them? Well, we're busy. I don't know if they'll work. Well, my belief is they work. And I've been doing them for 30 years, and I'm telling you, they work. I have multiple sources of income. I'm a lead generating machine. I'm not a salesperson, I'm an order taker. How many of you like that better? I don't hunt and chase, I attract. So take what you want your business, your life, your relationships, your finances to be, and put them in I am statements. That's on the back of the laminate, and in the shower, I read 25 gratitudes and 25 affirmations, and then I brush my teeth, and I'm ready to conquer the world. I am unstoppable. I am the #1 agent in the world. And then you have that little drunk monkey. No, you're not. You sold 7 homes last year. We have to believe in our unlimited potential in spite of the evidence against us. We had 13 fertility attempts. The doctor said you can't have kids. And I said, screw you. In spite of all the evidence, we believe. You gotta believe, you gotta have faith. So create those affirmations. And then the last one is your physiology, your state. Some of you have adjusted your state and not even know that you have. Some of you still look tired. And tired is a state. So what does confidence look like? What does happy look like? What does excited look like? What does eager look like? Adjust your body right now. In your seat, just adjust it, and then try to feel like shit. Try it. Try it. You can't feel a suffering state in a positive physiology. You don't feel sad, you do sad. Go to a funeral, everybody's doing sad. Go to a wedding, everybody's doing happy. Do it in your body and the emotion will show up. Here's another secret hack. You can model other people's physiology. So you go, well, Brian, I haven't really mastered this. So do you all know who Conor McGregor is? Conor McGregor is a UFC fighter. I'm sorry, Dean, I'll get better. I crossed the invisible line. So Conor McGregor is a UFC fighter, and if you don't know who he is, look him up. And then I ask you, would you let anyone you know fight him? The answer is no. So I'm a big fighter fan, right? But Conor McGregor has some swagger. And his physiology is why nobody wants to fight him. So in the privacy of my own home, I'm like, I wonder what that feels like. I wonder what feelings Conor McGregor is feeling. So I just went like this. I like that swagger. And if I'm having a bad day, I'll adjust my physiology and I'll model Conor McGregor's just to get me out of the pattern that I'm in. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, who thinks I'm crazy?
Crazy is good.
I'm a little crazy,
Crazy is good.
but I don't want to be like everybody else. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be sad. I don't want to suffer. Suffering's a choice. Okay, you guys got this down?
Yeah. Yes.
You in? Awesome. 1 second. Okay, so state, story, strategy. Your homework assignment is 25 gratitudes, 25 affirmations, and write an unbelievable why. Why are you going to do? Do you think I like making calls? Do you think I like being away from my family, my kids, when it's summertime? But I developed a discipline, and I have a couple of affirmations. An appointment a day makes the bills go away. I will do what others won't, so I can have what others want. And I've been blessed. So. Okay, the next thing I want to show you. I'm cramming a lot here into a little bit of time, but hopefully this is serving you. Are you enjoying this?
Yes.
Okay. It's game changing, I'm telling you, I promise you. Okay. So control your focus and your language and your physiology. Now. This is you. You live in a box. Now, I don't know how that makes you feel, but I don't like it. Nobody puts a cap on this guy, do you follow me? But the truth is, I'm living in a box too, and I have limitations. And we have an average. Now, hopefully you have goals. Dean's gonna do a session on goals, and then I hear another session. And Dean, I'll come down for that if I'm invited. I'm only 2 hours away. I'd love to come and listen and work on my goals. I have wicked goals in the 5 equities of life. I have career goals, I have financial goals, I have health goals. I have relationship and personal goals, and I have spiritual goals, whatever that means for you. For me, it's philanthropic, paying it forward. And I have really outrageous goals. When it comes to goal setting, I'll just say this. Don't set realistic goals. People who set realistic goals have mediocre lives. Shoot for the moon. Land on a star, you're doing pretty good. A lot of people never hit a star. I set a goal to be the #1 agent in the world. I failed. #2 twice. Who thinks that's pretty good? I'm pissed, but I can live with it. So here's the thing. So you have an average weight, you have an average cholesterol level, you have an average bank balance, you have an average number of sales you sell every year. You all get me? So you have an average, and it really doesn't change year to year. And we have goals that are above the line. We haven't reached them yet. And then we have no way. I'm not going below the line. Give me an example. How many of you are never going to be homeless?
Oh.
That's like way below the line, right? But not, I have goals. There's nothing wrong with living in an apartment, but I'm never living in an apartment again. I'm never driving a 20-year-old car again. Right? Because I had goals. And I reach those goals and the line keeps moving up. But there's a couple of things that determine the trajectory that you're going in. And one of those is your standards. Your standards in life. So there's 4 standards. And we have standards in different contexts of our life. Your standard around health and fitness and energy is maybe different than your standard around finance or your career or your relationships. I'll tell you, my highest standard is my family. My wife and my kids. Incredible standards. And really what a standard is what's acceptable in your life and what's not acceptable in your life. And when we choose to make what was once acceptable in our life no longer acceptable, we've raised our standard. And when you raise your standard, you raise your quality of life. So there's 4. And here's the standard. And then here's the result. So the lowest standard is people who have poor standards. Are there people who have poor standards around health? Are there people who have poor standards around their real estate careers? They might not even be aware of it. But this could be a wake-up call. Maybe there's people who have poor standards in relationships. And they're in a toxic, abusive relationship. And they just tolerated and accepted it. Or they've sold 2 houses a year for the last 5 years and they're okay with it. Well, when you say enough, when you say no more, you raise the line and you move in this direction. So you would think that poor standards get you what kind of results? Poor results. It used to be that way, but not anymore. See, I wanted to be the #1 agent in the world, I was #2. When you shoot for the moon, you don't always get the moon. Sometimes you do, but most of the time you don't. You fall just a little bit short. So when you're shooting for poor, you get catastrophic results. You get bankrupt, you get divorced, you get homeless, you get broke, you get disease, alcohol. When you have such low standards. But it's a giant leap to good. And when you have good as a standard, you don't get good results, you get poor results. I remember talking with Tony in Jackson Hole, Wyoming once, and we were talking about this. He said, Brian, people come up to me every day. And they go, my wife left me. I don't understand it. I'm a good husband. I just got let go and terminated by my employer. Why, Tony? Why? I'm a good employee. He goes, they won't understand it, but it's because you're good. Because when you're good, you get poor results. And then it's a giant leap again to excellence. But when you have excellence as a standard, you get good results. Some of us in the room are getting good results, which means you have a really high standard in an area of your life. But you're wondering, why am I only getting good results? It's because you're excellent. But it's just a 2 mm shift to do what Jarek has said and spend 30 more minutes to count your metrics that separates excellence from outstanding. And in this industry, it's not hard to be outstanding. Your competition sucks. I talk to them every day. The opportunity is amazing. My son was an SEC quarterback. He's 5'8". He believed he could do it. He had, what kind of standards do you think he had about training and working out to get to that level? But for him to compete, every quarterback in Division I football is outstanding. Can you honestly say that every realtor in Warwick or the Highland is outstanding? Wow, what an opportunity for you to raise the bar. For you to be a little bit better. You don't have to be the #1 agent in the world. You don't have to have a script and a dialogue for everything. You just need to be a little bit better than your competition and you'll crush the competition. Remember Jericho's conversions? 100 to 5. My conversions, because I measured, who's surprised that I measure? Not only did I measure everything she talked about, I measured other things like cost per lead, cost per sale. So many little finite metrics, because I was determined to get excellence in my career. So I had really high standards. I practiced and I trained every day. And I was in the 90 percentile all the way through all those metrics. So I get a lead, 9 out of 10 appointments booked. I get an appointment, 9 out of 10 clients signed. 9 out of 10 clients signed equals 9 out of 10 contracts. Who thinks those are good metrics? So I worked really hard for a few years to become outstanding so that I can enjoy the rest of my life because I don't have to talk to 100 people to do 5 deals. I talk to 9 and get 8 deals. So that's a choice, but that has to do with your standards. So the no way is your standard. So consider raising your standard. Consider saying, I believe I can do more. I have a big enough why to do more. I want to do more. Set some outrageous goals with Dean. There's a couple of things that will impact you. Your environment impacts whether you go this way or this way. Who knows that to be true? You hang around with me or Dean long enough, we'll have you believing you can walk through a wall.
Well, try it.
Okay, so your environment, people. Who's got some people in your life that are toxic that you might need to say no to? Now, we can't choose our family. Do you know I slide dialed my mother? So slide dial, I can record, it goes, if she can't answer the phone, it goes into her voices. Now, hey, Mom, happy birthday, I love you so much. The reason I do that is because I don't want her toxicity to get into me. Now, it's not, there's times where I just gotta suck it up and I really gotta do the Conor McGregor walk before I go see her. I gotta get in state to be repellent of this energy that she's determined to contaminate. But you know that, so people, places. Where you hang out? Who thinks that you're going to meet different people at Capitol Grill versus at Red Lobster? So you make some goals about who you want to hang around with, who you want to meet, where you want to spend your time. Set some goals in that area. And then this is the biggest piece, is your identity. How you see yourself is how you'll show up. The strongest force in your DNA in the human body is your identity. So if I say, who are you? I won't pick on anyone, but who are you? What comes to mind? That's your identity. If I say specifically, who are you as a real estate agent? That answer is your unconscious identity. Who are you as it relates to health and fitness and energy? Well, I'm overweight and I don't exercise. That's your identity. So the affirmations piece that I gave you earlier will create your future identity so that you go in this direction. Does that make sense? So when that drunk monkey says, I'm not the #1 agent in the world. I know, but I will be. I'm going to be. I have a net worth of X. No, you don't. You're broke as shit. That's the drunk monkey. You've got to control. The reason you have the average is because your identity is holding you down. My son, this is the best example I could give. He saw himself as an SEC quarterback in high school. He had affirmations. I read fast, I throw fast, I run fast. Hey, you're slow as shit. You're not fast. But he didn't let current situations dictate his future. Do you follow me? And that identity, because he said it over and over and over and over again, like a broken record, put his body into a vibration that opened opportunities for him that he was able to capitalize on. Same thing for me in my career. This is a big piece. So here's what happens. You hit some goals and you check those off. Now my son has graduated. So he gets a new box. He's got new goals. His goals are no longer being an SEC quarterback. He gave up his last year of eligibility. I'm bummed, by the way, because Vanderbilt is kicking butt.
Yeah.
They're headed for the national championship, the college playoffs, and we've got the Heisman. We've got a candidate for the Heisman that is a good friend of my son's. But he was part of that, but he said, you know what? I want to be in private equity. I want to work in New York with the wealthiest billionaires in the world. Who thinks that's a pretty competitive job? he somehow manifested it. Because he used affirmations that said, I am. So we do this, this floor is really what our goals were. And so far ahead of this, I'll tell you a quick story. I got 4 minutes left. In 1995, the IRS levied my bank account, seized the few assets I had, and levied my commissions from my broker, because I didn't pay taxes for 5 years. And that was my standard at the time. Like, I'll pay them when I can get caught up. How many of you understand that I am not late on my taxes anymore?
Yeah.
So what happens is we keep growing through life, and this keeps going. But some of us are wired improperly to think that we can't be happy until we hit a goal. But then when you hit a goal, that fulfillment is over in a second. I'm grateful for the experiences that I had. I'm proud of my accomplishments, of the accomplishments of my son and my other son, who's kicking ass too. But it's all in your psychology. It's all in your psychology. So in closing, here's what you need to succeed. You need to be grateful. You need to have an affirmation. You need to assess your honest current situation and set outrageous goals. Raise your standards. Who thinks that having a schedule is a standard? What kind, if you show me your schedule, I can tell you what your standards are. Do you have training in your schedule every week? Is anybody shocked to know that I read 30 minutes a day every day? It's not a lot, but 30 minutes a day. I read about 100 books a year. Compound effect. If you go to McDonald's every day for the next 365 days, the compound effect will show up, won't it? So I watch YouTube videos, I go to seminars, I calendar and schedule my training. Why did I come down here at 8 o'clock in the morning? I think I beat most of you here. Because I'm excited to train. I'm excited to sharpen the skills. And most people don't train every week. In football, they train 50, 60 hours a week for a 1-hour game on Saturday. How much training are you doing in lead conversion, listening presentation, handling objections, making compelling offers, differentiating yourself? Is our friend from Anchor Mortgage still here?
No.
That's every place.
Yeah.
So I was
In
talking
the guards.
to him and I said, what makes you different? And he gave me what you would hear, and I probed a little bit deeper, he goes, we don't charge, I wrote it down, we don't charge underwriting fees, and what else don't you charge for? That everyone else does?
Processing you underwrite.
Processing and underwriting, how much does that save a buyer? About $2,500. As a realtor, do you think you might wanna share that with your consumers?
Yeah.
That there's a lot more to buying a home than just picking a house off Zillow? Knowing what you're going to say before you say it, is that something that would make sense? My son's a quarterback, he's 5'8", he's little. Do you think it's helpful for him to pick up when the defense is gonna blitz and kill him? And do you think he knows what he should do when he reads a blitz? Or do you think he goes, holy shit, they're blitzing? In real estate, I see it all the time with real estate agents going, will you lower your commission? Oh, that's a blitz. And you don't know what to say, you haven't prepared, you haven't trained, you haven't practiced. So raise your standards, raise the quality of your life. I appreciate you guys having me. I'm gonna stick around because I can't wait to hear Dean. So thanks for having me.